Long ago, in the sun-drenched hills of ancient Israel, there lived a young shepherd boy named David. His days were spent surrounded by the gentle bleating of sheep, the whispering wind in the olive trees, and the endless expanse of sky overhead. David was the youngest son of Jesse, a man of Bethlehem, and while his older brothers went off to serve in the army of King Saul, David remained behind, tending to his father's flock. He was a boy of quiet strength, his hands calloused from guiding his sheep, his heart tuned to the melodies he played on his harp as he sang praises to God. In the stillness of the fields, David learned the value of patience, courage, and faith, the virtues that would one day shape him into much more than a shepherd. But as David watched over his sheep, the land of Israel was gripped by fear. The Philistines, Israel's bitter foes, had marched into the land, their warriors bold and their weapons gleaming. The two armies had arrayed themselves on opposing hills, separated by the valley of Elah, and each morning the valley filled with the shouts and clangor of war. Yet, for all their bravado, the Israelites were paralyzed by a single figure, a giant named Goliath. Goliath towered above ordinary men, standing over 9 feet tall, his massive frame encased in bronze armor that caught the sunlight and dazzled the eyes. His helmet gleamed, his breastplate shone like fire, and his legs were sheathed in plates of bronze. In one hand, he held a spear as thick as a weaver's beam, its iron tip heavier than any sword. With every step, the ground seemed to tremble beneath his feet. Each day, for 40 days, Goliath strode forth between the armies, his voice booming across the valley like thunder. "Why do you come out and line up for battle?" he bellowed. "Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." The challenge echoed through the ranks, sowing seeds of terror. No Israelite dared answer. Even King Saul, tall and proud among his people, felt his courage waver. It was on one such morning that David's father called for him. "Take this bread and roasted grain to your brothers at the battlefield," Jesse said, "and bring back news of them." David obeyed, rising before dawn, leaving his sheep with a caretaker, and setting out on the road to the encampment. As he drew near, he saw the shadow of fear lying heavy over the Israelite camp. Soldiers whispered in anxious tones, eyes cast downward, hands trembling on their swords. David made his way to his brothers, eager to hear news of the battle. But as he spoke with them, the earth shook with Goliath's approach. The giant's challenge rang out once more, defiant, mocking. David watched as men shrank away, their faces pale. "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine?" David said, his voice steady, "that he should defy the armies of the living God?" His brothers bristled at his words. "Why have you come here?" they demanded. "With whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? You are conceited and wicked. You only came to watch the battle." But David's faith was stronger than their scorn. He turned away, asking others about Goliath's challenge, and word soon reached King Saul. Saul summoned David, and the young shepherd stood before the king, unassuming, clad in homespun clothes, but his eyes alight with conviction. "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine," David said. "Your servant will go and fight him." Saul looked at David, unable to hide his doubt. "You are not able to go against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a boy, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David spoke of the battles he had fought in the wilderness, not against men, but against lions and bears that threatened his flock. "When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul, moved by David's faith, relented. He offered the boy his own armor, a helmet of bronze, a heavy coat of mail, a sword. David tried to walk in them, but the weight was too great. "I cannot go in these," he said, removing the armor. "I am not used to them." Instead, David took his staff in hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the brook, placed them in his shepherd's pouch, and with his sling in hand, approached the giant. On the field of battle, Goliath saw David and laughed, his voice echoing off the hills. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" he jeered, cursing David by his gods. Come here, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." But David stood firm, his heart unshaken. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin," he called, "but I come against you in the name of the Lord,